Hello friends, welcome to Shriram's. The topic for today's discussion is Indian private sector in space. Why is the government giving such an unprecedented role to the private sector in the space industry? For some decades now, private sector in India is involved in the space sector development. Many components making up a large part of manufacturing and fabrication of rockets and satellites are already in the hands of the private sector, including research institutions. But the need to increase their role and make them into a strategic partner is acute. Indian Space Research Organisation, ISRO, needs to focus on the research and development while leaving the rest to the private sector. Keeping this in view, Government of India announced the setting up of a new space organisation called Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Centre, INSPACE. It will facilitate and lay down rules for private sector to play a much more significant and strategic role in this sector. What is the role and need for INSPACE? INSPACE will be a separate body within the Department of Space that will have its own legal, technological, activity promotion and monitoring directorates. Its board will comprise members from the private industry, academia and Government of India. The new centre will act as a national nodal agency for hand-holding and promoting private industry in the space sector. It will even help private players build facilities within DOS premises. It will take about 3 to 6 months for this mechanism to become operational. It will promote private players in end-to-end space services, including building and launching rockets and satellites and providing space-based services commercially. INSPACE will act as an interface between ISRO and private parties. Where is the need for involving private sector on such a large scale? ISRO, like National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA of the US, is an R&D body. Even in research, ISRO needs assistance. For example, there are a number of ambitious space missions lined up in the coming years, including a mission to observe the Sun, a mission to the Moon, a human space flight, and then possibly a human landing on the Moon. It should not monopolize making launch vehicles and satellites. Involvement of private sector in these areas will free up ISRO resources for research purposes. The demand for space-based applications and services is growing, and ISRO is unable to cater to this. The need for satellite data, imageries, and space technology now cuts across sectors, from weather to agriculture to transport to urban development and more. ISRO would have to be expanded 10 times the current level to meet this demand. Didn't ISRO launch a privately built satellite in 2019? Yes, it did. It is KalamSat V2. It's the world's lightest satellite ever to be put into the orbit. Weighing only 1.26 kg, the KalamSat V2 was made by students belonging to a space education firm. So will we see companies like SpaceX of Elon Musk that put satellites into orbit and deliver cargo to the International Space Station? Yes, there are many startups in the fray. There are Indian companies that are in process of developing their own launch vehicles like Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle that carry the satellites and other payloads into space. ISRO is ready to provide its facilities to private players whose projects will be approved by the INSPACE. Private companies could build their own launch pad within the Sriharikota launch station, and ISRO would provide necessary land for that. What does New Space India Limited do? In the 2019 budget, the government had announced the setting up of New Space India Limited, NSIL. It is a public sector company under the Department of Space. Its main purpose is to market the technologies developed by ISRO and bring it more clients that need space-based services. How is it different from the Antrix Corporation? Antrix Corporation sells ISRO data to foreign clients, while New Space India Limited deals with the domestic demand. Well, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast.